Your engine is begging for help, and you don't listen to it. Thousands of tiny metal parts are grinding against each other and fuel is burning dirty. The good news is, most of that can be fixed fast. In this video, I'll show you 14 simple tricks that will make your engine run like it's new again. And at the end, there's one tiny detail that is the real game changer. It's the one most mechanics don't even mention. Let's get into it. Number 1. Clean or replace your air filter. Your engine needs to breathe, but chances are it's been suffocating. Hidden behind your air intake system is a filter that's supposed to keep dirt and debris out of your engine. When it's clean, air flows freely, your engine runs smooth, and everything feels responsive. When it's clogged, your engine gasps for air like a marathon runner breathing through a straw. Here's the brutal truth. Most air filters haven't been changed in over 20,000 miles. That's double what they're designed to handle. All that trapped dirt creates a barrier that chokes airflow, kills power, and forces your engine to work twice as hard for half the performance. If you've got a turbocharged engine, this problem gets even worse. That turbo is trying to cram air into your cylinders, but a dirty filter turns it into a weak, pathetic wheeze. The fix is stupidly simple. Pop your hood, find the air cleaner box, usually a rectangular or round housing near the engine, and unlatch it. Pull out that filter and hold it up to the light. If you can't see through it clearly, or if it's dark gray instead of white, it's toast. A fresh filter costs between $15 and $50 and takes about 2 minutes to install. No tools required, just pop the old one out and drop the new one in. But here's where most people mess up. They think any filter will do. Wrong. Use the exact part number for your vehicle. Generic filters might fit, but they won't flow air properly or protect as well as the original design. Get this right, and you'll feel the difference immediately. Better throttle response, smoother acceleration, and an engine that actually sounds healthy again. Now, let's talk about something that's probably been poisoning your engine for years without you knowing it. Number 2. Fuel injector cleaning. Your fuel system is supposed to deliver a fine, precise mist of gasoline to each cylinder. Think of it like a high-end spray bottle that creates a perfect cloud of fuel that burns clean and efficient. But over time, those tiny injector nozzles get gunked up with carbon, varnish, and fuel additives that bake on like cement. Instead of that perfect mist, you get an uneven dribble that burns dirty and steals power. This is why your engine hesitates when you hit the gas, why it feels sluggish pulling onto the highway, why you're filling up more often but going fewer miles. Those injectors are literally strangling your engine's ability to make power. Here's the thing about fuel injector cleaning. The bottles you buy at the parts store are basically expensive placebos. Real cleaning requires professional equipment that forces solvent through the injectors at high pressure, blasting away years of buildup. A good shop will hook up a pressurized cleaning kit, disconnect your fuel rail, and run industrial-strength solvent through each injector until it's spraying like new. The results are immediate and dramatic. Crisper throttle response, better fuel economy, smoother idle, and power you forgot your engine had. This isn't something you need every oil change, but every 30,000 miles, it's money well spent. Think of it as a deep cleaning for the most critical part of your fuel system. But even clean injectors can't save you from what's building up inside your engine right now. Number 3. Carbon buildup cleanup. This is the silent assassin that's slowly strangling your engine to death. Every time fuel burns, it leaves behind microscopic carbon particles. Over months and years, that carbon accumulates on intake valves, piston tops, and inside the combustion chambers. It's like black soot coating the inside of your engine, and it's choking performance in ways you might not even notice. This carbon acts like a sponge, soaking up fuel and disrupting the precise air-fuel mixture your engine needs. It creates hot spots that cause knock and detonation. It blocks airflow and reduces compression. Worst of all, it gets worse over time, especially if you do a lot of short trips or use cheap gas. Direct injection engines are particularly vulnerable because fuel never washes over the intake valves. That carbon just sits there, building up until your engine starts running rough, losing power, and drinking gas like it's going out of style. The solution? Carbon cleaning service that literally blasts the buildup away. Some shops use walnut shell media, shooting crushed walnut shells into the intake to scrub carbon off the valves. Others use chemical treatments that dissolve the buildup. Either way, the transformation is incredible. Engines that felt tired and weak suddenly come alive with smooth power and crisp response. You can also fight carbon buildup with fuel additives, but they're more prevention than cure. Pour a bottle of quality fuel system cleaner in your tank every few thousand miles, and you'll slow the buildup before it becomes a problem. But there's one component that controls everything we've talked about so far, and most people have never cleaned it once. Number 4. The throttle body inspection. It's like the gateway between your air filter and your engine. It's got a butterfly valve that opens and closes to control how much air flows in. When you step on the gas, that valve opens wider. Let off, and it closes down. Simple, right? Here's what's not simple. Carbon buildup on that butterfly valve. Over time, the same carbon that clogs your engine also coats this valve, creating a rough surface that disrupts smooth airflow. Even worse, that buildup changes how the valve seals when closed, throwing off your engine's idle and causing all sorts of weird running issues. A dirty throttle body causes rough idle, poor throttle response, stalling at stoplights, and even check engine lights. Your engine's computer is trying to maintain perfect air-fuel ratios, but that carbon buildup is messing with its calculations. It's like trying to breathe through a dirty screen door. Cleaning it is easier than you think. You'll need a throttle body cleaner and a clean rag. First, disconnect the air intake hose from the throttle body. You might need to loosen a clamp or remove a couple bolts. Then, gently open the butterfly valve and spray cleaner directly on the carbon buildup. Use a soft cloth to wipe away the dissolved grime, being careful not to damage the valve or its shaft. Let everything dry completely before reassembling. The difference in how your engine runs will be immediate. Smoother idle, better response, and an engine that actually behaves the way it's supposed to. Number 5. Mass airflow sensor cleanup. Right next to your throttle body sits another tiny component that's probably been lying to your engine for months. It's called the mass airflow sensor, and it's got one job: measure exactly how much air is flowing into your engine so the computer can deliver the perfect amount of fuel. When it's working right, you get smooth power and great fuel economy. When it's dirty, your engine runs like garbage. This sensor uses delicate wires or a thin film element to detect airflow. Over time, dust and oil residue coat these sensors, throwing off their readings. Your engine's computer starts getting bad data, so it guesses wrong on fuel delivery. Too much fuel and you're wasting gas while fouling spark plugs. Too little fuel and your engine runs lean, hot, and weak. The symptoms sneak up on you: jerky acceleration, poor gas mileage, hesitation when you step on it, and sometimes that dreaded check engine light. Most people assume it's something expensive and complicated. 9 times out of 10, it's just a dirty sensor that needs a 5-minute cleaning. Here's the magic part. You don't need to remove anything or get your hands dirty. Just unplug the electrical connector, pull the sensor straight out of its housing, and spray it with mass airflow sensor cleaner. Never use brake cleaner or carb cleaner on this part. Those harsh chemicals will destroy the delicate sensing element. Only use MAF-specific cleaner that evaporates clean without residue. Don't scrub it. Don't touch the sensor wires, just spray and let it air dry. Once it's completely dry, slide it back in and plug it in. Fire up the engine and feel the difference. That hesitation is gone, power comes back smooth and strong, and your fuel economy improves almost immediately. This is one of those maintenance items that gets ignored until something goes wrong. Clean it every time you change your air filter, and you'll never have to deal with the frustration of an engine that runs like it's confused. But even with perfect airflow and fuel delivery, your engine can still feel sluggish if you're putting the wrong fuel in the tank. Number 6. Use good quality fuel. Most people think premium gas is just a scam to get you to spend more money. Sometimes that's true, but sometimes it's exactly what your engine needs to perform its best. The difference isn't about more power or energy. Regular and premium gas have basically the same energy content. The difference is octane rating, and that's all about preventing knock. Here's what knock actually is: fuel igniting before the spark plug fires. Instead of a controlled burn that pushes the piston down at exactly the right moment, you get an explosion that fights against the piston as it's still coming up. That creates a metallic pinging sound and can literally hammer your engine apart over time. High-performance engines, turbocharged engines, and engines with high compression ratios need higher octane fuel to prevent this destructive knock. If your owner's manual specifies premium fuel and you're running regular, you're not saving money. You're slowly destroying your engine while losing power and fuel economy. But here's the flip side. If your engine was designed for regular fuel, premium won't do anything except empty your wallet faster. Your engine's computer will just adjust timing and fuel delivery to work with whatever octane you put in. No extra power, no better mileage, just wasted money. What matters more than octane is fuel quality. Top-tier gasoline contains detergents that keep your fuel system clean. Cheap gas from sketchy stations might meet minimum standards, but it won't have the additives that prevent carbon buildup and keep injectors flowing freely. Stick with name-brand stations and follow your owner's manual for octane requirements and last longer. Speaking, your engine will run cleaner, stronger, of lasting longer. There's one fluid change that's probably overdue right now, and getting it wrong can destroy your engine in ways that will shock you. Number 7. Timely oil changes. It seems simple, but most people are doing them completely wrong. They're either changing oil too often and wasting money, or waiting too long and turning their engine oil into thick black sludge that can't protect anything. The 3,000-mile oil change is dead. That advice came from the 1970s when oil was primitive and engines were crude. Modern synthetic oils can easily go 7,000, 10,000, even 15,000 miles in the right engine under the right conditions. But here's the catch. Your engine, your driving style, and your environment determine the real interval. Short trips are brutal on oil. If you drive less than 10 miles at a time, your oil never gets hot enough to burn off moisture and fuel contamination. That oil turns acidic and starts eating your engine from the inside. Dusty conditions, extreme temperatures, and aggressive driving all shorten oil life too. The secret is following your owner's manual, not what the quick lube place tells you. Modern cars have oil life monitors that track temperature, RPM, and driving conditions to calculate when oil actually needs changing. Trust the engineers who designed your engine over the teenager trying to sell you an oil change every 3 months. But here's what's even more important than timing: using the right oil. Your engine was designed for a specific viscosity and oil type. Use the wrong stuff, and you'll get poor lubrication, increased wear, and potentially catastrophic failure. Synthetic oils flow better in cold weather, resist breakdown at high temperatures, and protect better than conventional oil. They cost more upfront but last longer and provide superior protection. Change your oil when it needs changing, not when someone's trying to make money off you. Use quality oil that meets your engine's specifications. Your engine will stay cleaner, run smoother, and last hundreds of thousands of miles longer. But oil changes won't help if the supporting components around your engine are falling apart. Number 8. Swap. The old stuff. Your engine depends on a network of unsung heroes that most drivers completely ignore until they fail spectacularly. These components work silently in the background, and when they start wearing out, your engine's performance crumbles piece by piece. The scary part? Most of these failures give you warning signs that are easy to miss until it's too late. Spark plugs are probably the most overlooked performance killers on the road today. These tiny components create the explosion that drives your pistons, but after 60,000 miles, they're not exploding anything properly. The electrodes wear down, the gap widens, and instead of a crisp, powerful spark, you get a weak, lazy flame that can barely ignite the fuel mixture. This is why your engine starts feeling tired. Misfires become more common, especially under load. Acceleration gets sluggish because not every cylinder is firing at full strength. Your fuel economy tanks because unburned fuel gets wasted through the exhaust. Worst of all, those misfires can damage your catalytic converter, turning a $20 spark plug problem into a $2,000 nightmare. The fix is ridiculously simple, but most people wait way too long. Modern spark plugs are designed to last longer than the old copper plugs your grandfather used, but they're not immortal. Platinum and iridium plugs can go 80 to 100,000 miles, but that doesn't mean they should. Replace them at 60,000 miles and feel your engine wake up with power you forgot it had. Here's the secret most people miss. Use the exact plug specified in your owner's manual. The heat range, gap, and electrode material were chosen by engineers who spent millions developing your engine. Generic plugs might fit, but they won't perform the same way. Spend the extra few dollars for original equipment plugs, and your engine will reward you with smooth, consistent power. But spark plugs can't fire properly if the ignition coils feeding them are weak and failing. Number 9. Change ignition coils. They transform your battery's 12 volts into the thousands of volts needed to create spark. When they start failing, they don't die all at once. They get weaker gradually, producing less voltage and weaker sparks. Your engine starts missing occasionally, then more frequently, until finally that cylinder stops firing completely. The tricky part about failing coils is how they fail. They might work fine when the engine is cold, but break down as heat builds up. Or they'll work at idle, but fail under load when you're trying to accelerate. This creates intermittent problems that are frustrating to diagnose and even more frustrating to live with. Modern engines often have individual coils for each cylinder, which means when one fails, you can isolate the problem quickly. You'll feel a rough idle, notice hesitation during acceleration, and probably see a flashing check engine light. Don't ignore that flashing light. It's telling you that unburned fuel is heading toward your catalytic converter, and that expensive component doesn't appreciate being used as an incinerator. Replacing a bad coil is usually straightforward. Most are held in place with a single bolt and plug into a wiring harness. The hard part is figuring out which one is bad, but a code reader will point you to the misfiring cylinder. Replace the coil, and that cylinder comes back to life with full power. Here's a pro tip. If one coil fails, the others are probably not far behind, especially if your car has high mileage. Consider replacing all of them at once to avoid being stranded when the next one gives up. Beyond the electrical components, your engine relies on a complex network of hoses, belts, and seals that age silently until they fail catastrophically. Number 10. Replace overused hoses and timing belts. It's the ultimate example of a small part that can destroy everything. This rubber belt connects your crankshaft to your camshaft, ensuring that valves open and close at exactly the right moment. When it's working properly, you never think about it. When it snaps, your engine can be ruined in an instant. The terrifying thing about timing belt failure is how sudden it happens. Unlike other belts that might squeal or slip before they break, timing belts usually fail without warning. 1 second your engine is running fine. The next second pistons are colliding with valves, bending components that cost thousands to repair. Some engines are designed with enough clearance that a broken timing belt won't cause internal damage. These are called non-interference engines, and if the belt breaks, you're just looking at a tow truck and a belt replacement. But interference engines have no margin for error. When that belt snaps, moving parts crash into each other with devastating results. The only defense against timing belt failure is prevention. Replace the belt according to your manufacturer's schedule, usually between 60 and 100,000 miles. Don't wait for symptoms, because there won't be any. This is one maintenance item where you follow the calendar, not your gut. And when you replace the timing belt, replace the water pump too if it's driven by the same belt. You're already doing 90% of the labor to access these components, so replacing the pump at the same time makes financial sense. Nothing hurts worse than having your water pump fail 6 months after spending $800 on a timing belt job. Cooling system hoses live in the same harsh environment as timing belts, baking under hood heat and flexing with engine vibration. Rubber deteriorates from the inside out, so a hose that looks fine externally might be ready to burst internally. When cooling hoses fail, they don't just leak coolant. They dump it everywhere, causing immediate overheating that can warp cylinder heads and destroy head gaskets. The smart move is replacing cooling hoses proactively, especially the lower radiator hose that carries the hottest coolant under the most pressure. These hoses typically last 7 to 10 years, but severe climates and high-mileage engines can shorten that lifespan significantly. Look for hoses that feel soft or squishy when squeezed, especially near the clamps where most failures occur. Any hose showing cracks, bulges, or oil contamination should be replaced immediately. It's a $20 part that prevents a $2,000 overheating disaster. But even the best hoses won't save you if your cooling system isn't maintaining proper pressure. Number 11. Replacing radiator cap. Your radiator cap might look like a simple twist-on part, but it's actually a precision pressure valve that maintains the delicate balance your cooling system needs to function. This cap keeps coolant under pressure, which raises the boiling point and prevents steam pockets from forming in your engine. When the cap fails, pressure drops, coolant boils at a lower temperature, and your engine overheats even though the coolant level looks fine. You might notice steam coming from under the hood, temperature gauge climbing into the danger zone, or coolant mysteriously disappearing without visible leaks. A failing radiator cap creates a cascade of problems. Lower pressure means reduced coolant flow through the radiator. Hot spots develop in the engine where coolant can't circulate properly. The water pump works harder trying to move coolant that's partially vaporized. Eventually, something gives, usually the head gasket or the engine itself. Testing a radiator cap requires a special pressure tester, but replacing it is cheap insurance. Most caps cost less than $20 and take 30 seconds to install. Replace yours every few years or anytime you notice cooling system issues. It's the cheapest way to protect one of your engine's most critical systems. The cooling system connects to another overlooked component that's probably been poisoning your engine's performance for years. Number 12. PCVS. Your PCV valve controls crankcase ventilation, routing harmful gases out of your engine before they can cause damage. This tiny valve opens and closes based on engine vacuum, creating a one-way path for blow-by gases to escape without letting outside air contaminate your oil. When the PCV valve sticks or fails, pressure builds up inside your engine. Oil seals start leaking, gaskets blow out, and oil consumption increases dramatically. Your engine might develop a rough idle, poor fuel economy, or excessive oil burning. In severe cases, the buildup of pressure and contaminants can cause internal engine damage that's expensive to repair. The valve itself costs less than $10, but most people have never heard of it, let alone replaced it. It's usually located on the valve cover, connected to the intake manifold by a vacuum hose. Some engines have the valve built into the valve cover, making replacement slightly more complex but still manageable for a DIY mechanic. Testing a PCV valve is simple. Remove it and shake it. You should hear a rattle indicating the internal valve is free to move. No rattle means the valve is stuck and needs replacement. Some valves can be cleaned with carburetor cleaner, but for the price, replacement is usually the smarter choice. Replace your PCV valve every 30,000 miles or anytime you notice oil leaks or excessive oil consumption. It's one of those maintenance items that prevents expensive problems rather than fixing them after they occur. All of these components work together to keep your engine running smoothly, but there's one more system that most people completely ignore until it fails in the most frustrating way possible. Number 13. Replacing old fuel cap. Your fuel system has a secret weakness that's probably been sabotaging your performance for months, and it's hiding behind the most innocent-looking component on your entire car. I'm talking about your gas cap, that simple twist-on piece that you touch every time you fill up. Most people think it's just there to keep dirt out of the tank, but it's actually a precision-engineered pressure valve that keeps your entire fuel system operating correctly. Here's what most drivers don't understand. Modern fuel systems are sealed environments that depend on specific pressure levels to function properly. Your gas cap maintains that pressure by creating an airtight seal. When it fails, even slightly, it throws off the delicate balance your engine needs to run efficiently. A worn or damaged gas cap lets air leak into your fuel system, disrupting the vacuum that helps pull fuel from your tank to your engine. Your fuel pump has to work harder, your engine runs lean because it's getting air where it expects pure fuel vapor, and you start experiencing rough idle hesitation during acceleration, and even stalling at the worst possible moments. The really frustrating part is how this problem develops gradually. Your gas cap doesn't fail overnight. The rubber seal slowly hardens and cracks from heat, cold, and exposure to fuel vapors. Tiny gaps develop that you can't see, but your engine definitely feels. You might notice your check engine light coming on intermittently, especially after filling up, or catch a whiff of fuel vapors around your car that shouldn't be there. But here's where it gets expensive. Those escaping fuel vapors aren't just wasted money floating into the atmosphere. They're also confusing your engine's emissions system. Your evaporative emission control system is designed to capture and burn those vapors, but when they're leaking from a bad gas cap, the system can't do its job. Carbon canisters get overwhelmed, purge valves stick, and suddenly you're looking at hundreds of dollars in emission system repairs. The solution seems obvious. Just replace the gas cap. But here's where most people mess up catastrophically. They grab any cap that fits, assuming they're all the same. Wrong. Dead wrong. Your engine was designed to work with either a vented or non-vented cap, and mixing them up creates problems that can damage your fuel system permanently. A vented cap allows air to enter the tank as fuel is consumed, preventing vacuum buildup that could collapse your fuel tank. A non-vented cap relies on your car's evaporative emissions system to manage tank pressure through charcoal canisters and purge valves. Install the wrong type, and you'll either create excessive pressure that stresses your fuel pump or insufficient pressure that starves your engine. Most modern cars use non-vented caps because they're part of the emissions control system. But older vehicles, especially those from the 80s and early 90s, often need vented caps. Your owner's manual will specify which type you need, but if you're unsure, ask your parts dealer or mechanic. This isn't the time to guess. Even with the correct cap, installation matters more than you think. That clicking sound when you tighten your gas cap isn't just for show. It indicates that the cap has reached the proper torque and the seal is compressed correctly. Too loose and you'll have leaks. Too tight and you can damage the threads or the sealing mechanism. But sometimes the problem isn't the cap itself. Sometimes it's what the cap is sealing against. Number 14. Used fuel filler neck. Your fuel filler neck is the metal tube that connects your gas cap to your fuel tank. Over time, this neck accumulates dirt, road salt, and fuel residue that prevents your gas cap from sealing properly. You could have a perfect cap installed correctly, but if the sealing surface is contaminated, you'll still have leaks and performance problems. There you have it. 14 simple fixes that can transform your tired engine into something that runs like it just rolled off the assembly line. Clean air filter, fuel injector service, carbon cleaning, throttle body maintenance, mass airflow sensor care, proper fuel choice, timely oil changes, fresh components, and yes, that $20 gas cap that's been sabotaging your performance all along. Your engine doesn't need a complete overhaul. It just needs attention to the details everyone else ignores. Pick one of these fixes and start this weekend. Your engine will thank you. Let us know in the comments which one you're starting with, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.